welcome back for another round of the Simufair GT3 Championship, season number 4. And tonight we're at Imola. And what an exciting race it's bound to be. Hopefully we've got some action for you tonight. Practice has been cut a little bit short due to some server issues with Kunos that everyone was made aware of earlier. But having said that, here we are now. We're getting ready to go. Drivers have got about 40 minutes left of practice before they head into qualifying. Done in 3 stages, like you've seen for the last 3 weeks of the championship. Obviously with Indianapolis being skipped out due to no stream, unfortunately. For those of you that are just joining us tonight, the format of qualifying will be 10 minutes for the AM Championship to head out, 10 minutes for the Silver Championship to head out, and 10 minutes for the Pro Championship to head out and put in a decent lap here at Imola Grand Prix circuit. A lot of drivers on tonight. 41 so far. 41 so far. Only a couple of them sat in the pits. Last week's winner is also back for more. It's number 21 Porsche of Cafe. I have a feeling we'll see some good performance from the Porsches at Imola, with apart from on the start-finish straight. Of course, they've got everything they can play for in sectors 1 and 2, with sector 3 coming onto the start-finish straight. Very windy track is Imola, and as most of us know, using the Porsche, it's fantastic at cornering. So if you can get the cornering right, then the world's really your oyster there. The lap will just go well for you. Brand new to the grid today is Dags, number 21. No, excuse me, number 197. Sorry, my broadcasting tool was a little bit screwed up there. Number 197, it's Dags. He's been on the waiting list for a long time, patiently waiting to get into the Simufair GT3 Championship, as have many others beforehand as well. So welcome to the grid to Dags, and we wish him all the best for tonight, heading into Imola. New and updated for tonight, except no, it hasn't been, is Menos's livery. So this has actually changed slightly, or completely, in the sense that half the car is green and half the car is like black with a nice grey colour going up the middle of it. It looked fantastic. However, as we all know with ACC and downloading and uploading and downloading and uploading liveries, sometimes it doesn't work. So there we go, we've got Menos in his purple livery that he was using last week at Kyalami. So we'll give it a few more minutes, and then we will look at pulling some more drivers for interview. We spoke to a few last week. So for those of you in the chat now that are looking into a good race tonight, and you're looking forward to it, is there anybody that you've seen on the grid that you'd like to hear from? Anyone at all? And we will grab them. also on tonight now is number 97 of Cammers. Cammers has again been on the waiting list, very patiently waiting to get into the season. He's just made it in with about an hour to spare before the practice session opened tonight. Another KM driver. You can see the sort of style of livery made by Skylar again. It's an orange shark on there. So that's the number 97 of Cammers, the orange shark driven Audi R8 Evo. So welcome him to the grids into the AM Championship. Randomy is back for more after missing Kyalami out. He's back again to have a go at Imola. Denak back again in the black and orange Jaguar. Oh dear, one of the KMA drivers is taking a bit of a trip to the wall there. Hopefully he's okay. Seffi's back in the 222 Aston Martin. Lovely livery at Aston Martin, actually. I've just noticed that the blue and pink and white as well, the trans flag as well, so fantastic to see on a car, or at least I think that was blue. Was it blue, pink and white, or is it just blue, pink and white? Let's see the representative of the trans flag, or it looks like a marshmallow. Either way, great livery all the same, and we hope she does well tonight here at Imola. Some of these drivers you can't see very well unless you... Okay, so I mean the driver we're focused in on at the moment is the 141 Lexus of Eris. We'll just do this. That's better, isn't it? You can see its car there. So the 141 Lexus of Eris back again. Fantastic to see that Eris has stuck to the Lexus all through the season so far. From what I can tell, we've not had a negative opinion of the Lexus, but at the same time, everything can change. Obviously, not every car is suited to every track, but so far from what we're seeing here, this one's really working for Eris. Hopefully, hopefully it can continue to at least have fun in the car and get a good race going with a few people in the Silver Championship. Back for Imola after being disqualified, unfortunately, from Kyalami, is 521 Rene in the Lamborghini Huracan, working with Blue E Sports. Herself is MRT, so I believe they're working in conjunction with another. She's being closely followed by Plasma there, who has a bit of a wiggle, but he's still gonna push past. It almost looks like, I mean, you can see the HUD in the corner there. It almost looks like she was slowing down to let him pass, but that is just how fast Plasma can go here at Imola. Look at him, he is gone from our view at the moment. Where is he? Let's have a look, see, hold on 1 second. There he is, just out ahead. It's Plasma, car number 12, driving the Porsche GT3 Evo. Not sure if this is one of Plasma's favourite tracks or not, but needless to say, he's doing well so far. I'd say that he's sort of dropped it a little bit there, and he's decided to come back into the pits. Taylor, another Nissan GTR. They're back for some more. Car number 94. Hopefully they can do well tonight as well. Not sure how this track fares up to the Nissan GTR. Someone who would know something about the Nissan GTR and how it would perform anywhere would be this lad, Saber Kitson, in the number 523. Saber religiously sticks to the GTR, as we've seen through the last few weeks of streaming and the last few weeks of the championship, so currently the lead GTR out of all of them at the moment, so we'll see how he fares up tonight as we go into the race. Bongo, car number 28, is back again after just narrowly losing out to Caffey last week at Kyalami. Hopefully we can see Bongo pull back a victory tonight. Straight line speed might potentially be in his favour, but we don't know. Caffey managed to hold him back at Kyalami, especially down that long start-finish straight, so anything could happen tonight. But just in the background there, you can see Jin Fulf go out for another go at it. Jin Fulf's the KMA driver, or one of the KMA drivers. There he is, just heading out now. Very brightly coloured green Honda NSX Evo. Just try and get a better... Oh, there we go, that's a better view of him. Someone who's back for another race, another Honda, is the 604 of Sarah, KM's team owner and principal at the moment. Hopefully she has a good time here at Imola. She didn't make Kyalami last week, unfortunately. But as I said, we wish her all the best and hope that she has fun. Out on track at the moment is another KM driver, number 148, Paula Brady. She's been doing quite well in the Audi so far. She made it in just in time for Kyalami, and she had an alright result last week as well, so hopefully she can reciprocate that. Two other Blue E drivers back for some more is Jasper in the 223 Ferrari and Wolfin in the 529 Lamborghini Huracan. They join Suzuka, who's slightly further up the grids in the Silver Championship, in the number 10 Lamborghini Huracan. Back in the number 40 BMW M4, it is Anka racing in the Silver Championship. We wish Anka all the best here tonight at Imola Circuit, and hopefully they can do well to push up as high as they can. Who's that just heading out? It's car number something 7. Well, there's a lot of something 7s, but let's focus on one of the 7s. It's Nick, number 17 in the Mercedes-Benz Evo GT3, the 2020 model. You can tell the type of model by how big the grille is on the Mercedes. The older model has a very much a smaller grid. Phenomenal sounding car it is as well. Right, I will be right back in a few minutes, and then we'll pull some drivers for interview. Oh, there's the button. Right guys, be right back. Alright folks, and we are back. Time to see if we can get some people up to interview. So we'll give it a bit of time, see if anybody responds to coming up for an interview. We appreciate though that they are all driving. They do want to get as much as they can out of the shortened practice session that they've had. And I believe we're about to hear from one of the Arcanine drivers. And that would be, where is he? That'd be the number 176 Ferrari, the Arcanine Ferrari. It's sort of merged a little bit, but nevertheless, coming into the commentary box, here he is, it's number... Oh, I've lost the number. It's that Sergo. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. And it's 176.
176. There we go. So you've been in silver since the. Oh no, sorry. You've been in AM since the beginning of the series. Then, how do you feel that's going for you?
I'd say it's going well. Currently, it's. I know there's some fast drivers in AM. I know I'm kind of towards the top of that list as well. So, possible talks of going into silver with Fez, but not sure kind of where we're at with that. So. So far enjoying the season. It'll be interesting to see how the season finishes out.
And so you're driving the Ferrari for this series, but we're aware as well that you also drive the Aston Martin in the RCI Endurance series. How do the two cars compare for you?
Two completely different styles of driving that really have to be done for these two cars. Aston Martin being front engine, a little bit more forgiving. You can really kind of throw it into the corner, kind of let it stick. Takes curbs really well with all that weight in the front end. Ferrari, like this particular track with the curbs, doesn't really like it. I've noticed, especially in the chicane there in the beginning of Sector 3, just does not like that chicane if I go over it wrong. With the front engine Aston or the Mercedes AMG, you're just able to attack those curbs a little bit more forgiving.
Sounds good. Would you say, which car would you say you like better then, the Aston Martin or the Ferrari, given what you've told me?
Ferrari definitely has more potential if you can wrap your head around it. I find the Ferrari a little bit more fun to drive than the Aston. The Aston, I can get the lap time out of very, very confidently and come to speed with it real quick. But I'm enjoying driving the Ferrari for this series.
Excellent. Well, I'm not going to keep you any longer then. Thank you very much for taking a little bit of time out of practice to come up and speak to me.
Yeah.
And we wish you all the best for tonight. And good luck again. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So that was Dat Sergo racing a Ferrari as well, the number 176 Ferrari compared to an Aston Martin. Having fun in both cars is the gist I got from that, so hopefully... Oh!
Green light, go, go, go.
Hopefully he has fun with that. So apparently there's not going to be any more time for... interviews as we've jumped straight on to qualifying. And that is the AM class straight out. That is the AM class straight out onto the track then to put in their qualifying laps at Imola. It's Skylar Vixen, number 660 Honda, first out onto the track there, getting as much of a gap as she physically can, getting away from the field to have as much breathing space as she can when she comes onto that lap. Behind her is the 43 of Ruby Kitsune Fox in McLaren, followed by the number 18 Porsche of ZZ. We also have the KMA driver Jin Filth. He's sort of in between cars at the moment, but he's got plenty of space there to breathe and hopefully set a valid lap time. He's got the 520 of Rene, the 521, excuse me, of Rene behind him, and then cars behind them. That's how this works. Number 529, a little bit behind everyone else there, but as you can see, a good bit of air to set a decent lap. And then behind the 529 is Sefi in the 222, with all the space in the world to play with to set that decent lap. And it seems I was a little bit wrong about the first one out. The first one out is actually the 223 AM car, which is Jasper, who is in Sector 2 at the moment. Or have I got that wrong again? No, I do have that wrong again. It is Skylar who will be the first across the line to start the qualifying for the AM Championship. She's in that second chicane now. Looks like a very smooth lap so far for Skylar. She's well and truly on it. Hopefully she can set herself a good time and put her up high enough in the AM grid that she gets a decent start. A little bit wide there, but she is still very much on a valid lap as she comes into Aqua Minerale. Did well to avoid mounting too much of the curbs there. We all know how much those curbs can affect the car. Oh, it was a little bit bouncy there, but nevertheless she's still on a valid lap. Not sure how badly that's unsettled the car though, but we'll see what happens when she comes across the finish line. Headed down now into the two last tight left-hand corners before coming over the start-finish straight. So here we go. She goes across the start-finish straight now. and she's straight up there with a 1:44.3. So a 1:44.3. The next person to come across the line will be Zizi in the number 18 Porsche, and he comes in with a 1:46.8. So Skylar's done very well to hold off there. Taylor in there with a 1:48.2, but Sarah has jumped both of them into second place in AM class, only to be beaten by Cammers on a 1:44.4. So Cammers is the next one to take on Skylar's time. Not very much time in it at all. You can see here from the broadcasting tool that sectors 1 and 3 were Cammers' best lap, and sector 2 was Skylar's fastest as well. So between the two of them, they've got a decent lap going. Meanwhile, Randomy has come in and pushed Sarah down, as well as Denak. They've set a 1:45.2 and a 1:45.4. It's very impressive for the Jaguar as he moves over to let a couple of other cars through that are still on the lap. Geek has come in as well with a 1:46.6 in the 41 Audi. Zizi's unfortunately been pushed all the way down to 7th place in AM class with his time, but he's still very much improving at the moment. Slowbird's in there with the Jag at a 1:46.8. Rene is up there with a 1:47.5, and Taylor is up there with a 1:48.2. We've still got some of the AM class still yet to qualify, but Dat Sergo has answered Skylar Vixen enormously with a 1:43.7 in the 1:76 Ferrari. It's a phenomenal lap from Sergo. And we can see as well that as he heads off, he is continuing to get a better time up there. So that was a great banker lap for Sergo. He's got time to play with. There's a little bit of a wiggle as he loses a little bit of time coming out that chicane. So next person to see. Let's see if we can get someone to push him down a little bit, but needless to say, Wolfin has come into P6 in the AM class with a 1:45.7. It's a good time so far, and Seffi's pushed in with a 1:46.1, pushing Sarah down again. We've still got Jasper, Jinfulf, JPEG, and Ruby Kitsune Fox all to set a lap for the AM class. They've got about 3 minutes left to do it, so there is a chance there for that one flying lap. So it's going to have to be a phenomenal one flying lap. And so far then, Sergo still holds the top line. Look at all this breathing space Sergo's got just to continue setting good laps. He's invalid at the moment, but with all the time that he's got and all the space he's got to work, he can definitely improve on it. We have seen it. Let's see. Randomy seems to have pushed up as well in the 73 Nissan GTR. Sat there with a 1:44.2, so that's good enough. That's good enough for him. But he's still going to push on and try and do better, and he is doing better. It seems like Rene has gone a little bit quicker as well than... Oh, no, tell a lie. Rene was a little bit quicker than Zizi, but Zizi has now answered with a 46.4. Getting himself that top 10 place in AM class for the start of the grid. However, Slowbird has just pushed them, the two of them, down again. So, Slowbird in the old machinery of the Jaguar, the number 89 Jaguar, currently sat on a 1:46.3 and improving currently on the time. Straight line speed for the Jaguar is something that you would have seen in the AM Championship at Imola earlier in the year. We had a couple of Jags on the track as well, and cornering is where they struggled, but the straight line bit is exactly where the Jaguar was needed to perform. Currently at the moment, Slowbird is 1.3 seconds up on her time as we get into that final minute and a half of qualifying for the AM Champ. We'll stick with Slowbird at the moment because she is setting a phenomenal time at the moment, and we can certainly see she is going to push up quite far up that grid as well, so we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, there's been a bit of a switch between Cameras and Sergo. Cameras set a quick lap and then Sergo's answered immediately, so Cameras set a 1:43.3, Sergo set a 1:41.1 and pushed Cameras back down to that P2 place. But we're going to stick with this Jaguar as she is currently 1.3 up still. She's had a very consistent quick lap so far. She rounds the final corner onto the start-finish straight of Imola. She's catching up to Taylor at the moment, but I have a feeling after she's done with this lap, that will be her done. 1.5 seconds up, and she goes across the line with a 1:44.7, pushing all the way up into P6 from P11. That's a fantastic lap from Slowbird in an older car as well. Well done to her. Meanwhile, still sat up there is Sergo, who's again still improving on his time. Is there any stopping this man? That'll be a 1:42 if he continues this pace up. And ooh, that was a bit of a bump, but he is still building the time up again. Watch him as he goes over the start-finish line. He's close to it now. Oh, bit of a wiggle there. It's still valid, but the clock is now ticking down against him. He will improve though. It is going to be a 1:43, a 1:42.9, the fastest lap of the session right now. And Sergo, quite rightly so, pulls over to call it a day. Phenomenal lap from Sergo. Skylar pushes all the way up into P3 for the AM Championship with a final time set of 1:43.6. Slowbird is still out there on a lap, but unfortunately it's an invalid lap. She's got 56 seconds to get over the start-finish line to effectively be allowed to complete another lap. Now it can be done unless she goes horribly wrong. Here she is going to... oh no, she's decided to come into the pits, it seems. So she's not going to complete another lap there. She is going to call it a day. Meanwhile, the silver class have decided to come out, led at the moment by the number 45, which is Kestrel. So Kestrel will get the chance at the first fly-in laps for silver, and he's followed very closely by Nate as well. So there's less silvers than there are AM Championships, so there'll be more space between these cars. Nevertheless, though, we'll see who gets to put in a quick time now. There's quite a lot of them out on track. We've got Kestrel here, followed closely by Nate in the 131 Semi-Fair Academy Lamborghini. He's being followed by the number 34 BMW of Anka. Nope, excuse me, the number 40 of Anka. I lost my cars there. There we go. So Anka's also on a lap there. And who's also being followed by the 139 of Menos. And just behind him sits the number 10 Lamborghini Hurricane of Suzuka. A bit bouncy over that chicane there, but keeps the car held well. Car number 757 is Dietz, who's back for another go at it. Here we go. Dietz is following Suzuka at the moment, with car number 141 behind him. 141 being the Lexus that we looked at earlier of Eris. So Eris is on a valid lap at the moment. Just crossing the line, I believe, to complete that valid lap. So we'll see some of the silvers put in times. So at the moment, sitting at the top of silver class, it's Suzuka with a 1:43.3. Anchor is up there with a 1:43.4. Eris, who we're looking at, is in with a 1:44.4. It's a good banker lap so far, so hopefully Eris can improve on that in the slightly older machinery of the Lexus. Who else is pushed up there? We have Blade Wolf in the number 142 Aston Martin, another KM driver, and he's sat with a 1:43.8 currently, but improving on his time, sitting currently P3 in silver class, just down from Anka and of course Suzuka. Anka though is well and truly on his way to a better time. So he's got a 1:42.9 to beat in order to push Sergo down from the top. It's worth noting actually, with Sergo being P1 in AM class, he also sits P1 overall with the phenomenal lap time that he's set. Anker's just coming into the last bit of the lap now, following Nate as well, who's also on a valid lap, so he'll be getting a good toe off of Nate just in front of him there. So he pushes up to set a time of 1:42.7. He does push Sergo down the line and takes the overall P1 position. Nate ahead of him takes P3 in silver class and P5 overall. A couple of other drivers have posted a time now, so Menos is in there with a 1:43.8, great banker lap, but he is improving on it. Teeds in the 757 is on a 1:43.8 as well. There's literally a thousandth in it, with Menos being on a 1:43.870 and Deeds being on a 1:43.880. Both drivers currently improving on this lap as well. Slightly further down the line after being pushed down a little bit is Eris, who's not too bad on times. I think it's going to improve. It's got a few sections to do it in, although that was a little bit of a bumpy corner exit. Just behind Eris at the moment is Paula and Nick as well. So Paula is on a 1:44.4 with Nick in the number 17 Mercedes, currently sat on a lap of 47.4. But this one is definitely gonna push all the way back up to the top of the grid in a minute. He's currently 3.5 seconds up on his time, as we see Blade Wolf go to P2 in silver class there with a 1:42.987, the exact same time as Dat Sergo. But this is the man to watch at the moment as we head into the last two corners. Listen to that Mercedes roar round these corners as he chases Eris, who's also on a valid lap. We'll see if Eris goes a little bit quicker. As they go across the line now, it doesn't go quicker, it stays where it is. But Nick in the meantime is pushed all the way up to P2 overall and in silver class, taking Sergo and Blade Wolf down a position, but not quite yet able to answer to Anka. So we'll see what happens so far. I believe there's about 2 minutes left of qualifying for the Silver Championship. And it looked for a minute there Nick was going to slow down and come into the pits, but he's decided to carry on going. So we'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, Nate is currently on an invalid lap. He's been pushed quite far down the grid at the moment, but hopefully he can set a decent time. You can see here Eris is relatively at the beginning of the lap, but it seems like it's already invalidated, so unfortunately it's going to have to get a bit of a move on if it wants a chance to set or at least to have another go at a decent time at Imola. Good luck to the 141. Hopefully we see it set a more competitive time. Kestrel here with a 1:44 450 still. He's still got a lot of work to do to push up that grid. Grim Lilith seems to have not come out yet. It's the 115 Porsche of Grim, and he's not come out the pits yet, it seems, so we'll see what happens. It seems like the pro drivers are getting ready to line up and head out onto the track as a few of the cars finish off their final laps. Anchor is following Nate there. They've just started a lap. The 757 of Deeds, I believe, was on a lap but is now invalid. So they've got 30 seconds to get across the line. Blade comes into the pits after being pushed down to P3 in silver class. Still on the same time as Sergo. He's not managed to improve that, but that is a good overall place to be. Suzuka holds P4 currently in the silver class with a 1:43.1 and will hold on to that position for now until the pro times start putting in their times. Paula at the moment is in P5 of silver class. She heads round currently to Aqua Minerale as she's also up on her time. So with the way she's going, it may be a direct 1:43, which could see her push up by about 3 positions, which is a great place to be in, especially at the start of the grid before the pro class come out. In which case the pro class have indeed come out. So here we go, they're getting mixed in a little bit with the AM class and silver class, excuse me. But they've all got out relatively safe, which is a good thing to see. Unfortunately, it seems like the 115 of Grim didn't manage to set a time, so we'll see what these pro drivers can do as Dolby heads out to the track to put in the time. Eris is still on a lap. Let's see. Oh, okay. So Eris at the moment is still on a valid lap, but when it gets across the finish line, it will have to pull over and come into the pits. You can see just behind Eris that Fez Fox is definitely gaining, or was gaining, excuse me. Seems to have dropped off a little bit though. But nevertheless, we'll watch the 141 take the final corner onto the start-finish straight as it heads down to complete its lap. It's not going to be an improvement, unfortunately. So Eris's final time there will be a 1:44.407, which is 1, 2, 3, 8th or 9th place in silver class, with the broadcasted tool showing silver and AM mixed in with one another. Very mixed in with one another, it seems. We have a look at the pro class as we see some times begin to get set. So Fez Fox at the moment is the first car that will be on a flying lap. And just behind him you've got Azure and Danny, who are relatively close to one another considering they should be setting qualifying times, so hopefully that doesn't phase either one of them. Dags, our new driver, out as well in the Porsche, just ahead of Fez. Not yet on a lap, but just behind him is Fez, who is on a valid lap. So Dags will be starting his valid lap any minute now. Meanwhile, though, Fez Fox is coming down into the last 2 left-hand corners, slightly just slightly behind Dags, and we'll see what time he can put in. So he comes over the start-finish line then and puts in a 1:42.8. Great banker lap, but he's got quite a bit of work to do to push Nick and Anka down from P1 and 2 overall. Next up to come in among the silvers and Denham is Plasma in the number 12 Porsche for the 143.1. Seeing some great banker laps so far. Next up is Chris McNichol. Oh, Chris McNichol in the with a 143.2 in the Audi R8. Hemi Husky pushes Plasma down in the 101 BMW. Very colourful livery, that 101 BMW. He's being chased currently by Snooty in the 48 BMW M4. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say it. Snooty's driving a BMW M6 compared to the BMW M4. In fact, actually, talk of the man, he's pushed all the way up into P1 already with a 142.3. Finally, a pro driver sitting at the top of the grid, which is what we wanted to see. Look forward to seeing if Snooty can continue to get better at that, and to see if any of the other drivers can challenge him. Bongo's on the way to it already, pushing Fezfox down by 1. There's not a lot of time in it at all. Bongo sat there now with a 142.832 and Fez with a 142.857. Dags has now pushed up into P3 overall with a 142.7 in the Porsche. It's a great lap. I'm pretty sure that's probably a banker lap as well, as he heads on to do another lap. Snooty still sits at the top there. Sabre and Azure push Dags down by 2 positions, but Chris McNichol has now pushed Snooty McFlude down by 1, and Bongo has now answered to that. But needless to say, Hemi Husky's pushed all the way up to P2 with a 142.2, and Snooty has answered back with a 142.002. Very nearly seeing drivers here come into the 41s. We're still yet to see Caffey put in another lap, but he's on a 142.7 at the moment in the number 21 Porsche. With Joker in the 62 Honda NSX in a 42.8. Fezfox at the moment still yet to improve on his time of 142.857. Plasma again as well, stuck on a 143.1 and yet to improve. So hopefully we see that improvement from Plasma. Danny, in the meantime, is sat on a 143.7 and is improving a little bit on his time, but I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to push up far. We can see the time building up now. Oh no, wait, here we go. So he's a second up so far and dropping a little bit of time. He's going to come across the start-finish straight any minute now, and we'll get a proper gauge of where Danny's going to sit tonight on the grid. Here we go, Danny goes across the line now and pushes all the way up into P12 overall with a 142.8. Up the top of the grid still is Snooty, number 48, on a 142.002, and Hemi on a 142.2, with Chris McNichol on a 142.3, Joker at the moment on a 142.4, Bongo sits on a 142.4 as well. There is thousands between Joker and Bongo at the moment, and both of them are also improving on their time. Azure sits on a 142.5 at the moment. He is invalid though, so as we can see here, he's got a lot of work to do. He's also got to let drivers through as well, since he's not on a valid lap at the moment. Caffey's put the car into the wall on a 142.5. There's 2 minutes left of qualifying. He does come out to have another go at it. Joker pushes all the way up to P4 overall with a 142.450 now. Nope, he hasn't. Excuse me, Joker's not actually moved. But we're yet to see Fezfox improve a little bit more on his time. So he's on there at the moment with a 142.562. Sabre Kitsune, meanwhile, takes P10 overall in the 523 Nissan GTR. And unfortunately invalidates his lap. That is a shame to see it. Got Plasma just behind him, pushing for a better lap now, so hopefully we can see it, but Plasma is invalid currently. I'm not sure what happened there. See, has Sabre improved? Not quite, no. Oh no, he's not, because he went invalid. Duh. Anyway, looking back at the top of the grid, Snooty still holds on with a 42.002, but Hemi Husky, oh, Josiah nearly answered to Hemi Husky there with a 142.2, but Hemi's all pushed all the way up into the 142.0s now. It's a great lap so far from Hemi. He's still improving his time though, so we'll see if he can continue to improve. Fox has pushed up to 5th place overall now, improving his time. Oh, and Hemi Husky seems to have lost it there, and oof, done a lot of damage to the car with 15 seconds left to go. Never mind, that is a great position to be in. P2 overall, next to the 48 BMW M4. So if nobody pushes Snooty down at the moment, it's going to be a BMW frontline lockout, with the newer M4 versus the older M6 model. So then, we can see it there. Steely McFluid and Hemi Husky lock out the front row at the moment, and we'll be back in a few minutes to go over everybody, where we'll also head to lights out. So I'll be back in a minute, guys. And you join me again as we line up on the start-finish grid. So here is your front row lineup as we see it. We're just gonna change camera angles because. So then, Snooty McLeod and Hemi Husky do indeed make a BMW lockout then, with Josiah in P3, Sabre in P4. Plasma finished in P5 overall with the number 632 of Chris McNichol in P6. P7 sets Fez Fox in the McLaren 86 at the moment. And in the Red Bull Honda NSX is the 62 of Joker in P8. P9 sits Bongo in the Ferrari. And making up that P10 is our Silver Class driver Anka in the BMW M4. Fantastic to see a Silver Class driver that far up. You can see down the rest of the grid then as we come into last 50 seconds before we go on a rolling start. You'll hear any minute now, or around the 30-second mark, excuse me, that drivers will be instructed to start their engines and get ready for the rolling start. As we see the back of the grids here, a lot of cars have turned up today, 42 in general. Fantastic looking livery there again from Grimm in the 115. So there we go, there is your driver lineup as we get into the last few seconds before we go to the rolling start. So for those of you that are new to Simufer or new to GT3 racing, a rolling start is what's used to kick off these 1 hour or endurance races. Cars will be required to go at single file in a relatively slow speed to warm up tyres. Seems like so far everybody's made it. Everybody's still making it off the start-finish grid. That's how many cars there are at the moment. Finally, they say the back of the grid does get a chance to get going, and you can see just on the mini-map all the cars take up a good probable fifth of the track. So it'd be quite interesting to see what happens when the racing goes on. Trees, excuse me. So I'll need to warm out that. Some cars will choose to weave, which you can see Josiah doing a little bit of it there. Snooty, you can see it a little bit, he sort of rides on the brakes slightly. Everybody has their own way of doing it to warm up the tyres. There's no wrong way of doing it, it's whatever way you prefer. Just as long as you're not causing a danger to the other cars. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when we get up to racing and green light, because not all the cars will be over the start finish line or approaching it by the time they get the option for the green light. Back of the grids, slowly but surely making their way round through Aqua Minerale there. The rear being brought up by the number 43 of Ruby Kitsune. But we will head back up to P1 as we come across the last corner all the way up to the start finish straight. These cars will go. They're 2x2 now. All cars instructed to get into 2x2. Any minute now we'll get the green light response from the race director.
Green light. Go,
And away we go then. So here we go, the front row lockout of Hemi Husky and the 48 of Snooty McFlude gets underway as we get green lights all over this car. Oh, bit of a bump there between Plasma and nope, sorry, not Plasma. That was, sorry, Plasma and Chris. There's been an off. There's been a big off involving at least 4 or 5 cars getting into turn 1. That is a phenomenal accident, and my gosh, are the stewards going to be busy. My gosh, are the stewards going to be busy. A lot of the cars get underway there, but I mean, well, yeah. And there you go. That is definitely what it was supposed to be. That is a complete and utter race restart. A complete and utter race restart. I do not know what happened there, and I can imagine the stewards are in for a busy one. So we're back at the beginning of the grid again, with another 2.5 minutes before session start, before we go into yet another rolling start, before we go into yet another attempt at that one. It seemed to be going so well for Snooty and Hemi as well. No doubt Hemi will be looking forward to this one because it means he's got another chance to have a go at taking the position from Snooty heading up to that first corner. That very difficult chicane as we saw. Big shame there for whoever it was that was involved in that incident at the start of the race. Hopefully we can get through lap 1 more successfully. And if we don't and we get the same incident again, what will race control do at that point? Will there be a restart, or will they say no, that's it, let the cars race? Got all that to come in about 3 or 4 minutes. Drivers have got yet another minute to set up the car and get ready to go. Another 30 seconds before they have to start their engines and head off on another warm-up lap. So admittedly, after having that restart come up, I'm honestly not sure what to say at this point. I was looking forward to commentating on racing, but for those of you that have just joined, we've had a bit of an off at the beginning of the race.
seconds.
And the drivers are yet again lining up to go on another warm-up lap. So we'll see how this one goes.
10 seconds.
It usually means when someone gets a 10-second warning like that, there's someone still stuck in the menus. Is there still some? If they're stuck in the menus, they will be teleported to pits. It looks like. Nope, it looks like we've got everyone. Everybody did manage to make it and start the car in time. So we now play the waiting game as we head on yet another warm-up lap of Imola. This time in the number 48 with Snooty. Very carefully through the first chicane goes Studi. You can see the concentration on his face. Some of the drivers having a little bit of banter between them there as they head out on this warm-up lap. Check the back of the grid as well. We're focused on number 141 of Eris at the moment. Eris is in the middle of the grid roughly, heading towards the back, and then we've got Ruby again bringing up the back of the pack. Quite lucky the cars clipped through one another, because I imagine there would have been some serious accidents at that point. Slowbird, the number 89 Old Machinery Jaguar, stood very well for the AM class, considering what this car's like at Imola. That's a good position to be in towards the start for the AM Championship. Obviously our highest finishing AM is the number 176 of Sergo, so everyone will be on to chase him for that AM Championship. Seems like the number 142 of Blade Wolf has pulled into the pits. And from what I can tell, he didn't start in the pits. I believe he made it off the start-finish line. But needless to say, he now starts at the back of the grids. He'll get the green light after the whole of the grid have gone past. But needless to say, here we go again. The number 48 and 101 BMW Lockout heads once again slowly down towards the start-finish line. And hopefully this time we'll get the Season 4 Race 3, there it is, underway. No, I got that wrong, it's not Race 3, it's Race 4. Oh. So much time to do all these warm-up laps. We hope and pray that everybody gets it right as we go again for the start of the Imola race. So here we go, the drivers head again down towards turn 1. It's Snooty that gets through easily, followed by Hemi Husky as well. There's still an off at the middle of the grid, but everybody seems to make it relatively safely through, it seems. Certainly a lot better. Certainly a lot better than it used to be, but there's 4 cars that are really properly going at it now as we follow there. Oh, who's that that's gone off? That might be Suzuka. Oh, it's not Suzuka, but that was almost an unsafe rejoin. And again, 4 cars get caught up in an incident as we start the race. Well, to be quite honest with you, that's more incidents there. What is going on? What is going on between these drivers? What even is that? Oh my! What am I seeing? What am I seeing? That's embarrassing for him. That is embarrassing, isn't it? As these drivers look to find a gap to get going. Plasma seems to have lost it up the grid as well. Is he okay? Is Plasma still going? No, he's dropping down the grid like no tomorrow. What is going on there with Plasma? Is he back? Is he okay? He's got the car going again, but... Oh, that was a narrow avoidance. That Porsche has been brutally damaged. Absolutely brutally damaged as 3 cars come in at racing speeds behind Plasma. Is that going to... Well, Blade Wolf there taking advantage of these two. Plasma rolls it into the pits as Blade Wolf goes 2 by 2 with Geek there. He gets the position. He's going to be followed by Taylor Colley. I cannot believe that happened. Taylor Colley has the position. Oh, Geek almost said no to that, but Blade Wolf is absolutely gone in the number 142 Aston Martin. Needless to say, we've got a race going on up at front here. The BMW, the old machinery of the 101 M6, has overtaken the newer M4. And Hemi Husky gets this race underway then. As the number 148, Paula as well. Paula seems to have lost it. What's going on here? She looks to rejoin the track. She does get back on somewhat safely, but she's blocked off Seffi there. So she has kept her position. She goes straight back into a race with Jasper. Jasper runs extremely wide into Aqua Minerale. And again, some more cars have lost it as well. We've got Plaz, we've got Grim, we've got Denak, we've got Randomy. Oh, excuse me a minute. Oh my god, they're going so quickly down the grid I can't catch. Anyway, so there's Randomy. That's a rejoin there. Taylor goes almost easily round. Yep, they do have the position. Oh, blimey. Anyway, so slightly further up the grid then, we've got the number 765 of Azure in a battle at the moment with Cafe, and just ahead of them, Anchor and Danny are going at it as well. So we've got some good racing finally going on here between these cars. It's a long train of cars to take that final P10 position. Let's have a look, see what's... Oh, trees again. No. So here we go then. So Azure there is chasing the top 10 holder here now, Anka, the silver driver. They've got Nick in silver, just mixing in with them at the moment. Great start for Anka as we get underway. 5 minutes into the race, Anka's chasing Danny in the number 44 as we head back through again, Aqua Minerale. Azure loses the car a little bit, but he does manage to hold on to it. Long train of cars going on there, and it seems that Cafe is pushed up further to Azure go. Not so much time in it now. Is there going to be a move coming into these corners? There's not going to be. So what will happen on this straight between that McLaren and the Porsche? Has the McLaren got enough puff to get away from the Porsche in order to keep the position, or will the Porsche take advantage of the tow coming into turn 1? Speaking of coming into turn 1 or past it now, the number 101 of Hemi Husky is well and truly out there. Now just over half a second ahead of the 48. It seems like Blade Wolf in the 142 has lost it again. He slides all the way down to the back of the grid. And Azure as well, slightly further up the grid. There's been another 4-car accident involving several cars again on the opening laps of the Imola Grand Prix circuit. Whoa, Anchor comes across the track there. nearly cutting off 3 cars that are all trying to race one another. We've got Dags and Grim and Cameras that are beginning to go at it. Grim and Dags have... Oh, sorry, Sergo, excuse me. It seems like Sergo's lost out. Dags takes over with Grim very close behind. And unfortunately, Sergo loses out there. Meanwhile, just up there, we've got Bongo, who's moved to take over Danny and Chris McNichol as he works his way up the field to catch up to the next car ahead of him, which will be Josiah, who chases Fez Fox. Not much of a gap between these 3 drivers here as well. They both chase down Joker for P4. Meanwhile, Sabre is in P3 and has a bit of a gap, a little bit of room to settle down and just get on with. Not sure what happened to Bongo there. He's lost a lot of time to Josiah. Danny's managed to close the gap very so slightly. Suzuka's move in to overtake Menos on the outside of turn 1, but Menos just holds the line and locks it off, blocking Suzuka out. It's allowed Nate in the 131 to catch up to Suzuka. It's a great camera angle to see racing at. Here we go. But Menos at the moment holding steadily on to P11 and chasing Caffey down. Caffey just in the front of the screen there. He's well and truly away with it as this train of cars. Excuse me. Wow, that is embarrassing. As this train of cars continues to follow Menos. Ultimately it will be Suzuka that looks at taking the position, followed by Nate, who might sit back, relax and watch these two. He does go for a move on Suzuka, but it doesn't quite happen there. That was a bold move to make and it almost worked out. We've got a car in the pits. I believe that's Jasper. Not sure what happened with Jasper, but needless to say, after all the beginning of the race shenanigans, I imagine that might possibly be Jasper in for repairs. We've got Dags as well, who's lost the car and unfortunately lost positions as Dolby goes to overtake. I wonder if Nick can look at maybe on that. No, so Dolby does hold the position coming into the last two corners there. We'll see if Nick can look at possibly taking positions, but Joker meanwhile seems to have lost the car as well. And the number 31, the number 81 has also lost the car as well. He's now in the pits. Now I'm not sure if that's just a repair or whether or not he's done for the day, but that is indeed Josiah Whiskey in all the way from P8 or 9, I believe it was. Needless to say though, Joker's got going again. The number 62 does get going. He's immediately in contention with number 10, but manages to squeeze back in front of the 131 Nate. Very frustrating for Nate. Joker goes on around the outside of Suzuka. And Joker does manage to make it stick and hold that inside line. It's a good move. Grim Lilith there comes into contention with Nate and Suzuka. Trying to go up the inside of Nate on Aqua Minerale. He manages to make it work. Nate is unfortunately pushed wide, which allows the 97 of Cammers to get through. Oh, not quite, excuse me. It seems that Nate and Grim will go side by side almost as they come into this chicane, but it's Grim that gets the better exit. With Nate following closely and Cammers now within striking distance of Nate as they head down to the last section of this race. And it doesn't quite happen for Cammers. Nate goes a little bit squirrely on the outside of that there, but he does ultimately hold on to the position. Just slightly further back there, Dags is looking to make the overtake work on the Audi, and that Porsche is really working that Porsche hard. And it's not quite worked this time round, so he will have to be patient and wait for probably this sector really. I mean, sector 1 and sector 2 are where the Porsche can really look at gaining an advantage. We'll see here, Dags is almost looking at making the advantage work. Cars go too wide there. That is Dolby that almost lost out twice there. He runs wide. And Dags and Nick also managed to squeeze through. Just behind them it will be Skylar looking to make another go of it. She's properly caught up to the pack now, so, but needless to say, Dags and Anka now go side by side, heading down to what could be a difficult section. Just a couple of corners just before Aqua Minerale. We've got Nate just ahead there, chasing Cammers for P13 now. As we can see, the Porsches... Oh, Well, I don't know what happened there, folks. Ah, you've got to be having a giggle. Brilliant. Well, unfortunately, that is the end of the semi-fair GT3 Season 4, Round 4. And unfortunately, we don't know what's going to happen there. We don't know whether or not it's going to be postponed and whether or not we come back again next week and try again. So, right, well, I mean, we were having a good time. Still waiting to see on what's happening with the rest of it. Whether or not they're going to try and restart the race again. We were about 14 minutes into that one there. Give us a sec, folks, just try and see what's going on here, whether or not we're actually going to go ahead later or what. Whilst I find out, I'm going to go on the BRB screen and exit this just for now, just so we don't sit here looking at a random bit of Imola. We shall be right back once we know what's going on. sorry folks, we'll just leave it on a nice shot of a beautiful looking car from my endurance team, RK9. It's a lot better than looking at a Be Right Back screen, that's for sure, as we find out what is actually going on with the Imola race. So we're aware at the moment that it will be pushed back, but we're not sure when it will be pushed back to. So, having said that, I am going to bring the stream to an end here, so that we don't just waffle on about nonsense. However, when you look at this car, you see that we're not talking about nonsense. You see some good drivers in this car. And everything on the car, the number, the colour, the signs, the name itself is all relevant. To something that many of you may understand. And just whilst we have the lead car in motion there, we then have my car. So the B team car of the same team. Again, some great drivers there. Again, the name of the car, the colour of the car, the number of the car, all relevant to what it's referencing. For those of you that know, then you know exactly what this car is on about. And those of you that knows are will understand what this is about as well. Anyway, on that note, thank you very much for joining in for this short race. Unfortunately, that will be it for this week, and we will be back next week. Whether or not it will be for Imola or the next race in the season, we'll soon find out. But needless to say, thank you very much for watching, and good night for now.